Welcome to the Bourbon Barkeep Lounge. It is House Call Wednesday. Essentially, the house calls and makes me try something and sees how stupid I am. We'll see how stupid I am this week. So watching back episode 1, the randomizer seemed to drag. So I randomized off camera and already have things poured. So we can actually get this rolling sooner. If you care or are keeping track at home, this is battle 162. And supposedly that is 59 and 54. That means nothing to me. So I'm sure it means nothing to you. So how this works is I have 2 blind pours that are just randomly selected, and we see, are things worth the money? Do they taste as good without kind of the fanfare, if you will, around them? I did try and keep everything relatively gettable, if you will, in terms of we're not trying 2021 Elijah Craig barrel proofs by any means. So trying to keep it at least things that are similar and what you could find. So without further ado, we got glass 1 here. We got our Bourbon Barkeep Glencairn, and we got our glass 2, glass B. That's going to alternate constantly. That's in the double B's, if you can even see that. So, glass A. What did the house want to put in my mouth and belly? Wow, that's sweet again. That's a lot of cranberry, maybe even like a spiced cranberry. It's not horribly dark, so I don't know if it would be finished or not. All of these are going to be whiskeys, well, I guess I should say American whiskeys. So it could be rye, could be whiskey, Tennessee whiskey, bourbon. That's a really nice, like a cranberry, nutmeg, not getting a lot of spice, so I can't go cinnamon. Wow, that's a really nice nose. Cheers. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. A little more spice on the tongue, so the sweetness still kind of comes with you, develops into more of a cherry now. But you get a lot more baking spice with your cinnamon. Everybody says allspice. I mean, cinnamon's in allspice. So do I need to go through all the spices if I say allspice? But you do get kind of that allspice, cinnamon, nutmeg. Continues with great sweetness on the back of the tongue. Just kind of lingers there for a little bit, which is nice. The finish, kind of medium, like there's no heat to it really at all. So if this is, I would probably put it at 100 proof, maybe 105. That would be about it. Really no Kentucky hug, but all of this is just great sweetness, nice tingle on the tongue, and hangs on the tongue, which is great. Second sip. That's nice. A touch more oak coming through in the second sip. Gives it a little more body to it instead of just this kind of sweet and spice. So now you kind of have a little bit of a savory note with the oak in there, but that's a really nice pour. I try not to guess what they are, mainly because I feel like as soon as you start trying to guess, A, you look like an idiot because usually you're wrong, but also B, if you're trying to take away some of the fanfare of it, and I know that it's Elijah Craig barrel proof C batch, you know, I feel like that kind of defeats the purpose of it. All right, so we got glass B, Hopefully I can maintain glass B and not glass 2. Ooh, a little more maybe raisin, plum. Definitely a lot of dark fruit in there. Maybe some butterscotch. Wow. That is a delightful nose. I think I'm gonna stick with glass B, and then maybe I'll go back and forth a little bit more, but those are really nice. Yeah, maybe like a brown butter. Ooh. All right, glass 2. Damn it, glass B. Ooh. The nose does not translate to the palate at all, whereas glass A kind of followed the trend, whereas you have this dark fruit on the first sip, or on at least the nose. On the first sip, it kind of actually goes like a mint, a little bit sour, and I wouldn't say in a good way, maybe like a bitter oak, just a little bit. That bitter oak, it hangs around on the finish so long, it actually made me forget any of the other tasting notes besides the mint, actually. So I'm gonna go back in for a second sip. Touch less mint on the second sip. Very drying. I mean, moisture is just exiting my tongue rapidly. But yeah, that bitter oak is just really there, which I did. I mean, obviously there are 2 different pours, so did not get on glass A. If I were to dive in a bit more, it's kind of this like rush of caramel, maybe some nougat. Was kind of hoping the chocolate was there. No chocolate because I like the candy bar kind of feel. And that just hangs around for maybe a couple seconds. And yeah, this bitter oak just kind of keeps hanging around just in the back of the throat. The finish is long, much longer than glass 1. But yeah, that bitter oak, I'm just not horribly here for. Before I get into the scoring, and Noah and I, my partner, if you have not seen, and when I say partner, I mean barkeep, potential nope, not potential, he is a barkeep. We're horrible at doing the like and subscribe thing. So before I get into the scoring, like, subscribe, do all the stuff. The comments have been a lot of fun to interact with you all. Definitely makes it feel like you're out there. So definitely let me know what you think once you figure out well, you know what the glasses are because it's in the title. But let me know how stupid I am throughout, I guess. If you are new to the channel, we do score kind of 0 to 100, 50 being our just completely average. There is, you won't remember it essentially, but it's not bad because you remember bad. So I'll flash those up on the screen. They'll also be in the description. So if I were to kind of go back and forth between the 2, nose, so nice. Very light, much brighter than glass B here, where, I mean, it's really dark in a great way. Going from the nose on glass B to the palate is almost frustrating because it smells great with the brown butter and kind of like a cobbler crust with, oh, fantastic. You still get the dark fruits. So nose is definitely glass 1. Taste, where, I mean, it should be heavily weighted. Yeah, it's not close. Glass 1 has this fantastic sweetness. Now, granted, if you like that oaky, kind of sour, you know, that's why you kind of try and throw out all of these tasting notes in your experience with the glass, because my palate is not going to be yours. So if you hear things that you like on glass B, by all means, go for it. Jump at it. yeah, there's just a really nice sweetness on the tip of the tongue that does kind of hang there. It kind of buzzes your tongue, definitely more than Glass A, but the finish with the bitter oak, I would be a little tired of after 4 or 5 sips at this point. And that's a pretty heavy knock on it, even though the finish is longer. So if you were going for a little bit of more of a sweeter, brighter, Glass 1. If you're going for definitely darker, bitter, better hug, Glass 2. Tonight at least, the scoring will be Glass 1. I'm gonna go 76. It's really good. Keeping it from the grate with how much I enjoy the nose and the palate is the finish. It's just enough to where it's not thin, not mouth coating, and there's no Kentucky hug. It's just there, which is nice. Glass B, I am going to go 68. I really like it. If you look at the categories, it's pleasurable, highly pleasurable. But I can't put it into, wow, that's the good stuff, when I'm tired of it after 6 sips because of that bitter oak. Now, can this open up and maybe that the edges kind of come off? Maybe. But at least as I'm sitting here in front of you all, it's there. All right, so we have our scores. At Bourbon Barkeep, we obviously take bang for your buck into consideration. So I'm going to take a look at the Google Forms and see at least what everything costs, see if that changes at least my bang for the buck, and then see who comes out on top of battle number 2 of the series. Let's see, so 162, number 59, which is Glass A, is $75, which bourbon nowadays, it's tough to sit there and make a comment about it at this point. Glass number 2, Glass B, was $60. Man, those are really tight. So I would say my bang for the buck on Glass A being a great experience and really my only knock being not that long of a finish. The problem with whiskeys like that is they can really get after you at that point. I mean, sooner or later, you're 3 glasses deep, you're feeling pretty good. I would probably put that all the way up at maybe 70. I mean, it was really good. Glass B, we said was $60. Very rich, great finish, just that slight bitterness in the back of the throat was the one that kind of kept it down. Overall, I mean, $60 nowadays, that's pretty good. But I'm not gonna rebuy it potentially, knowing what I know now, obviously. So I'm gonna go 65. I think it tastes great. You take away the one note, and it probably would have won. So at 65, that gives us our totals. I'll flash those up on the screen. Pretty obvious between Glass A winning both categories. Shockingly, with a higher price, is still a bang for the buck. Now it's time to see actually what I was tasting. Okay, that is very surprising. Glass A was the Holladay, Missouri Straight Bourbon Rickhouse Proof. So if you're unfamiliar with the Holladay Distillery, they are out in western Missouri, close to Kansas City. They have their bourbon and their soft red wheat have done really well in Fred Minnick's Top 100, other WhiskeyTube channels. but they also have a Rickhouse proof, so kind of their barrel proof, if you will. So their Rickhouse proof for the Missouri straight bourbon was 118 proof, and had almost no hug, which is dangerous at 118. Glass B, which you already know that I'm still chewing on, is the Old Forester 1920 at 115 proof. I got no banana at all. I got the darkness, so maybe you could, where was the banana? Like Brown Foreman, what the hell? Oh. Yeah, that Rickhouse is really, really smooth and delightful. It had like kind of a Christmassy kind of feel to it as well, which was great. But that Old Forester is throwing me for an absolute loop, having zero banana. I mean, now it's like, these blinds are frustrating. I don't know why I frickin' do them. Okay, well, there you go. I don't know, I know Holladay's been blowing up in terms of their distribution. If you see the Rickhouse, especially at $75, even $80, that is punching well above that weight. If you really like a smooth, highly flavorful, even sweet bourbon, it's obviously sweeter than the Old Forester, which I would have thought was pretty sweet in itself. But I'm happy this one made it in early, because I was really curious how it would do standing up to some of these just kind of shelfers, if you will. And I mean that with love and affection to you, Old Forester. But man, yeah, if you see that Rickhouse, that's worth every penny, apparently. Now we know. Well, thanks for joining in another episode of the House Call Wednesday, if you will. Once again, like, subscribe, tune in to our Fridays, where I am joined by the, once again, dashing Noah. And we do kind of the new releases, the blinds, things like that. So if this is the first time you're ever seeing us, take a look at some of these other Friday episodes. These are just kind of a fun little solo thing, because why not try and put some of the collection together and see what holds up. Anyways, thank you again, and we'll see you Friday or Wednesday.